Hi, welcome back to this series of videos on SAP S/4HANA. So, in the previous session, we have seen how SAP ERP has evolved over a period of time. And discussed that in 2015, SAP has introduced this new product line called SAP S/4HANA. So, this basically we can say it's re-architect, redesign, rewritten product, which basically they plan to use it as a replacement for the existing business suite solutions. So, as part of that, I mentioned that their focus was mainly on the simplification because of the complexity involved in the existing business suite solutions. Whenever a customer is looking for some new features or functionalities, and to adapt that existing product to these new features and functionalities, so it's becoming very, very difficult to do that enhancement. So it's becoming a big undertaking for any customer, even for SAP also. That's when SAP has decided to come up with more simplified and more agile business suite solutions. So actually that they've started in 2014. So the process of simplification started there. They started working on finance module initially, and then later on logistics. And then they've introduced this a product called SAP S/4HANA in 2015. So when they decided to develop an application like this, I also mentioned that they decided to do it only on HANA database platform because they know that if they can really utilize the capabilities of the database like in-memory database like SAP HANA, they will be able to develop more simplified and more agile application. So that's the reason why remember that SAP S/4HANA is not a continuation of any of the existing business suite solutions. So this is a completely a new product line where the major focus was initially on the simplification. So basically, they started with the core data model itself. When we say core data model, basically the database structures are more simplified when you compare with the old business suite system like SAP ERP, like ECC. So in ECC, if you look at that database structures, there are so many aggregated tables they used and indices they used. So they use a lot of techniques to improve the performance. But that they were able to eliminate just because they've decided to develop this application only on the HANA database platform. Because HANA database is having that kind of advanced processing capabilities and the features which supports this simplification. So have a look at this. This will give you an idea for you how that simplification happened. If you look at that old ECC system, that ERP system, which was designed to mainly run with the traditional disk-based databases like Oracle SQL Server DB2 like that. If you look at the database structures, this is how it looks like. Look at the complexity here. So many tables we have, so many database structures we have. So you have master tables, you have transaction tables, you have a lot of aggregated tables, you have a lot of indices. So basically, meaning of that is they use a lot of techniques primarily to improve the performance. A lot of techniques they've implemented. So basically, those techniques of those features doesn't add any value for your core business functionality. Even if you remove that, the features they've used to improve the performance, still your business functionality will be same. But as I told you, once they decided to build this on HANA database, only on HANA database, so they're able to do a simplification like this. Just imagine this. The simplification happened there. At the database level, we are speaking about the database structures. So much of simplification happened. So that's why remember when we compare your database of SAP ECC running with your traditional disk-based databases and your S4 HANA, there is a significant difference. Like an example, if you are speaking about aggregated tables, they don't need aggregated tables here because they don't store aggregated data. The reason is your HANA database is such a powerful database. It's capable of doing that aggregation calculations in fraction of seconds. So when you can do something like that in fraction of seconds, what's the need of storing the data? Aggregated data. Similarly, they used a special type of storage here in HANA called columnar storage. So because of that, in a columnar table, each column will act as an index. So they don't use indices here. So that has given a lot of flexibility. And apart from that, also they implemented massive parallel processing in HANA database. So utilizing these features, so basically the core data model itself, they are able to simplify. So when your core data model is simplified, means your database structures are simplified. Obviously, your application code becomes a lot more simpler. So when your application code meaning of that is whatever the code they write on top of this, so whatever the ABAP programming they use to build that application, so the code is more simplified. When your application code is simplified, imagine you are speaking about more agility, any enhancements, advanced functionalities you want to implement, that becomes a lot more easier for them. Also, you need to understand that this happened because of the reason is underlying HANA database. We mentioned many times, right? Another most important thing they did is, as database is such a powerful uh, data processing capabilities you have, highly advanced data processing capabilities you have at the database level. So what they're able to achieve is they are able to implement a new concept called push down approach. So basically what they do here is they push down the processing, all the data intensive processing to the database layer. So earlier what they used to do, suppose you take applications like PCC running with some third-party databases like Oracle, SQL Server like that. So they basically do this processing at the application layer. So any calculation, let us say you want to do an aggregation calculation. So even a small aggregation calculation, for that they have to fetch the data from database layer to application layer and then start doing that processing there. Even a simple sorting also they used to do like that. But now, because database is having highly advanced processing capabilities, all these calculations, the data intensive calculations, they push down to the database. So the data processing happens at the database layer itself. So imagine in such cases, the network traffic between the database and the application server drastically comes down. Yes, let us say example, there's a table in which you have a million records and they want to do an aggregation calculation like sum or average. So basically earlier what they used to do, they used to fetch the data from the database level to the application layer, all the million records. And then that aggregation calculation they used to do here. The result of that aggregation may be only 100 records. So to give a result of 100 records, you're loading a million records from the database layer to application layer. So that was the case with applications like ACC. But now in S4 HANA, as they implemented this new approach, those calculations will be done in the database only. Only the results will be sent to the application layer. Means only the 100 records will be sent to the application layer. That's the advantage we have. So by utilizing these capabilities of HANA to a full extent, SAP is able to build more simplified, more agile application, which is suitable for the next generation business requirements of the customers. So that's what they're able to achieve. So that's why always remember this, SAP S/4HANA is a totally new product, which SAP has designed and developed it from scratch, not a continuation of any of the existing SAP business with solutions. But in this, still they followed the same classic three-tier architecture only as we discussed earlier. Here, the classic three-tier architecture applications which they've introduced way back in 1992. Same architecture they followed in SAP S/4HANA also. So in the next video, we'll discuss about it. Yep, please stay tuned. We'll have a continued discussion on this.